That is where $580 million of improvement equivalent value is what we have added because of this AI enablement of the process.
Wonderful.
So humans and AI can absolutely work together.
Again, ultimately, there is a trust always between, you have to build that trust between customer and your side. So generally we say AI ethics should become a part of your culture.
Yeah.
And you should be able to say that AI ethics is our culture. So then only it will work. That is what we feel.
I would say Microsoft Fabric driven data engineering expertise company. At the same time, we will be growing Datasmith AI into Gen AI space, not only in the application space, but in the entire ecosystem of Gen AI.
Hi, welcome to another Why Involve podcast. Joining us today are Parag and Kirti Bihade, who are leaders in technology and co-founders of Datasmith AI and Parallel Minds. Parag brings in over 20 years of expertise in digital transformation, custom software development, data engineering, and AI integration. His experience spans a variety of domains such as manufacturing, oil and gas, healthcare, and e-learning. Kirti, on the other hand, is an accomplished and seasoned data science professional with over 15 years of experience. Her expertise lies in generative AI, machine learning, and computer vision. She is also the founder of Swapnapurti Social Foundation, which is a platform that is dedicated to empowering rural job seekers and driving social impact. So they are in a different league, but together they blend cutting-edge tech with traditional methods. Their solutions are impactful and empower communities. I'm so excited to hear more from them. Welcome, Parag and Kirti. Thank you for being here and welcome to our Why Involve podcast. Parag, Datasmith and Parallel Minds, they are known for blending technology with AI integration and developing very innovative applications. So would you like to walk us through a standout project, which you did where you got significant and amazing results?
Yeah, I mean, we can certainly by the way, thanks for inviting us here. It's our pleasure.
Thank you.
To be Kirti, and
I'm so thankful. Host you guys.
Thank you very much to Why.
It's a warm feeling talking to you guys here. Great initiative though. So yes, you're coming back to your question. So we have been doing interesting projects in the real estate space or in the oil and gas space or typically in the health tech space and so on. But I will pick up one particular project where it's in the health tech space. In that space, what we have done is there is a customer in the US. He runs his own hospital.
Okay.
Almost 80-90 people he is working with. All the doctors are working with him. And one of the problems he realized, he's a nephrologist, and one of the problems he realized and identified in the US that there are a lot of patients, senior patients, I would say elderly people, who have dialysis issues. Plus the problem with in the US, it looks like, or in typical outside of India scenario looks like, or even in India these days, what it looks like is people have to queue up to get to their particular slot where they can get the dialysis. But then dialysis is not time dependent. When you need dialysis, you need dialysis.
You need
as simple as that, right? So that is where then he really was looking at options. How do we really cause this and solve this problem? And that is where he came up with this idea of remote dialysis, where the idea is such that you will have a home dialysis system at home, and but then as a patient, you cannot simply
monitor the vitals, right?
The vitals. You cannot on yourself. You cannot simply straight away get into the dialysis mode, right? So that is where we collaborated with him, and then we ideated a solution. The solution was based on the smart glasses. So the smart glass is an interface using which you can, as a nurse, for example, who can visit at home, the nurse through the glass can look at the patient, and then the nurse can give a call to the doctor who is in the remote mode, and on the web mode, the doctor can easily interface, look at what's happening with the patient, and then through voice he can guide the particular nurse using the glass, and then the doctor can direct to the nurse how to operate and how to make things work for and all that, right?
Fantastic.
So it's all combination of web application, combination of client server, smart glasses, combination of AR enablement and so on. So all that is something which what we did for the customer. That is one of standout projects,
That's
I think we would
amazing.
say.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is solving a major problem of elderly care, and then the nurse, using the technology, and then doctor in the remote mode, really guiding the nurse to make the operations happen there. That is something solving a problem.
So what kind of generative AI related implementation did it require?
Not in that project though, but then generative AI for that, maybe we will have to get some inputs from Kirti on the generative AI kind of use cases which we have built and what we are working on.
Because it has been last couple of years, it has been a total game changer, I can say.
So Datasmith AI is other company. We people are like founder and co-founder to that company. So it was completely, the theme was that this company will work only with data and will apply machine learning, deep learning, data analytics, visualization here in this company. So earlier when we started, so Datasmith AI started from 2021 and Parallel Minds is since 2008. So when we started this company, at that time, GenAI was not so popular. So we started with that vision that we will apply ML and all that. So there we have done very interesting projects, and there were customers at Parallel Minds from oil and gas domain, and they were having good experience of the domain. And for machine learning also, then we got very good projects in the oil and gas domain. So we worked there in the heavy data analytics space, then machine learning space, data visualization space. So we started there, it was going good, data analytics and machine learning. Then after that, GenAI came into existence, and then we saw that GenAI is really picking up very fast. It has really good business scope. If you're considering of company from company perspective, and even we were receiving so many use cases from the existing customer from Parallel Minds. For example, there are like real estate customers, they were getting multiple brochures, multiple information, tenant information, and they were extracting that information manually. So we got use case from that side. Then there was another customer, for example, compliance related stuff and all that. So there are important information in the compliance that if you'll not follow this compliance, there could be a possible loss in the future. So that kind of important use cases we started receiving, and then we thought that this is really a good space to go in. Of course, we have that competency of ML, but it is good space to go, and then we started generative AI. And now when we thought that we will position Datasmith AI as a generative AI company, then again we came across one use case which was really interesting, and from this use case we have built our product, and it is really doing well. So do you want me to explain that product? Maybe later I can explain that product. You can ask me
in
different
continuation,
questions.
probably we can just give a brief overview of what the problem statement is, what is identified, and how we have been able to solve it. So typically, imagine a valve manufacturing company, and they do receive tenders or RFPs, they call it, request for proposals, from let's say oil and gas companies, let's say Aramco, ADNOC, or Sharjah National Oil Company, and so on. So once they receive tenders, what they have to do is they have to go through the tender. And tender typically is a document of 400 pages or 800 pages or 1200 pages or even 2000 pages. Now, because the sales team is a cost function many a times, and it is, and there is a limited number of people who are in the sales team. Now, the sales team members, let's say imagine there are 5 sales team members. So they are receiving these tenders on and off all the time. So every day they are receiving, let's say 8 to 10 tenders. And imagine the amount of load or the time they have to spend going through the tender and identifying whether this tender, am I supposed to respond to this tender?
Yeah.
If the answer is yes, then there is a timeline to be met. And if the timeline is supposed to be made, then they have to refer to a lot of things from the past experience. They also have to go through the tender and analyze it properly, try to find answers to the most important questions, identify ambiguous statements, and so on.
There are so many regulatory
so many clauses, regulatory, ASME standards, and so on.
Right.
And then eventually they have to arrive at what content to be written for each section in a given proposal. That is what their challenge is. Now, the problem is, because it's a limited set of members, they just lose on opportunities. So there is a huge opportunity loss they are at, and they leave a lot of money on the table. And the other challenge what we have discussed is there are juniors in the team who are not able to concentrate, and they don't even understand how to assess a particular RFP or a tender because they are juniors. They don't have that acumen or the understanding of how to read the clauses. And that is where there is a bottleneck, where the senior person is just a couple of people, and there are so many juniors, they are not able to concentrate.
And because there is so much regulatory stuff, it's easy to not detect an anomaly or anything that goes missing, right?
So that is where then tender genie comes into game.
Yeah, so what they said, actually, their first basic pain point that sometimes there are so many tenders that there is no time to look into tender and check like last submission date.
Yeah, even they
that
miss
is also
on that.
Only based on that also they are losing out on their thing. And even they ask, for example, there is some keywords like UL is a keyword. Having this keyword can cause them, like if they are missing out on this keyword, there is a loss of 1 crore, 2 crores.
Correct,
okay.
correct.
So it is very important for them to find out all such keywords, all such important information and the stuff around that.
So we built this system to analyze tenders, get answers to the same set of questions which they might want to get answers to from every tender they want to analyze with, help them create proposals, help them create winning proposals is what our goal is.
That's great.
And
it's a great solution.
Then they also want to so they like the solution so much that they said, boss, instead of one tender at a time, why don't you automate this process? So we created an automation solution where they don't even need to come to our conversational interface anymore. They just send the tender documents to one of systems, imagine one of interfaces, and automatically all processing happens in the background magically. That is why we call it Genie. And then the Genie does its magic, applies all the logic, have AI, ML, we have GenAI, all combined technologies together, and then we generate a document, generate a proposal to them, and then we send out back to their set of team members. And the entire process hardly takes like 30 minutes maybe. So 1800 pages ka document is done in 30 minutes.
And those
it's
people
not just about
are,
reading the document. It's about analyzing, assessing, coming up with reference documents, and all that.
So your experience and expertise lies across so many different domains like healthcare. You talked about oil and gas and all. And I'm sure every industry domain has its own challenges in terms of AI implementation. So in your experience and in your perspective, which is the industry that has most challenges regarding AI implementation and adoption?
What do you think?
I think I will take that question. So generally what is happening, AI people are like, they have started believing in it. Earlier there was some resistance that it is just hype and nothing is happening, all that, right? And then suddenly ChatGPT, when started, people have started seeing the results. And they felt that now it is doing something, right? And then eventually text data, audio data, video data. That is one good thing everybody was started at least believing. Now, when they started applying that use cases, right? So whenever GenAI is providing solution, it is a value-based, it is a efficiency-based. Directly, you cannot say to the customer that it is going to add revenue. Because generally what is happening with any business, if there is a cost going only and not coming anything, it is very difficult to convince customer that this is going to work for you.
Absolutely.
Okay?
Yeah.
So they know AI, they are believing in AI, but whenever it is coming to cater to their use case, they want to develop POC, but they are not going beyond POC.
And there is a certain disbelief in AI related decisions also.
Correct.
Because it has to be human in the loop.
Yes.
Always the final decision and all.
But interesting, sorry to interrupt. Yeah, go ahead.
No, that's okay. I mean, you can go
but
on.
the interesting scenario on this last particular point, I would like to share a quick story on how we picked up the customer and what the story is. Yes. So one story is, so we tied up with our partner in Australia. Real Insight is the name of the partner. And together we pitched a customer in Gulf country. They had almost 50 wells, oil wells, I think.
No, 22 oil wells
22
with
oil
137 laterals. That is sub wells, we can say that.
So in a typical oil field, right? So you have wells. The wells could have different profiles and all that. And then wells are additionally directionally drilled and they become horizontal wells and so on. So they had this data of last 20 years. So be it
huge data.
So be it seismic data, be it geodata, be it lithology information, be it drilling information, be it so many different file formats and so on. Now, the customer, what they wanted to do is, they have their own geologist team, they have their own engineering team, and they wanted to take a decision so let's say there is an oil field and there is another oil field just besides the existing oil field with similar characteristics of
that is, they call it as a biostratigraphy.
Biostratigraphy is similar.
Characteristics.
So imagine that, and what they wanted to do is they wanted to take a call, so analyze this data and probably figure out where I should make the drilling decision, whether I should drill here, whether I should drill there, or there were, imagine, some 4-5 wells already drilled, and they wanted to take a call in what direction they should drill. Okay, so now for that they had done all their job and they have taken the decision that these are the points where they want to drill. But someone from the customer side probably thought, let us apply machine learning. Let us figure out, can AI predict the same results the way our engineers have.
Results, yeah,
and that is where we saw this positive, I would say, opportunity where customer of that scale oil and gas domain, they are wanting to experiment and figure out and validate whether machine learning can also do the similar prediction as what the humans have done.
And was it near the
Yeah,
human?
the accuracy was 86%, and they were
86%.
very
Fantastic.
happy.
And that is the project where we realized, like, 500 after. So our model was able to predict 86% is the accuracy of the prediction, and then they were able to compare. They actually presented this case in ADIPEC. There is a conference happening
Abu Dhabi
in Abu
International
Dhabi,
Conference of
and
Petroleum.
they also published a paper. She was also part of the content writing team and all that. And eventually, when we presented this particular overall story to set of additional customers, they made us realize what kind of value we have added in the customers. And so that is where $580 million of improvement equivalent value is what we have added because of this AI enablement of the process.
It's wonderful.
So humans and AI can absolutely work together. It's good for both.
So always it is not only AI. Generally, how
I mean,
the
you cannot
conversation,
have
correct.
just AI with the final decision. There is always the human element. It's going
Correct.
to be there.
It is actually
but
to
it's at the
empower
final
human.
stage where you are sort of validating the decisions that AI has taken.
Correct. So that was one of case. So yeah.
So always AI, what I feel like AI is not to, generally people say we will replace people, or there are like manual work people are doing, for example, and they are taking 32 hours, and by doing that work in 1 hour we will replace their job.
It's not
It
like
is
that.
not like that. It is to empower them so that they can really work on important aspect, that how they can win the proposal. That is one aspect. And what is another aspect when on this particular product, that their pain point is these newcomers, that is new joinees or the young people. Their attention span is very low, and this monotonous tasks require lot of attention, right? And the
Concentration.
details are very important. So what they are saying, these people are not doing that job, and they are not interested in doing this monotonous job. So eventually in the future, they are going to face the problem,
Yeah.
right? So this is where we should help people. This is where the AI should
And
come into
the
the picture.
data is showing the right results, right? If it is just the intelligence, probably people would doubt that. But it is your data, it is your line of business data that you are
Correct.
looking at,
Correct.
and patterns are emerging out of it. So you are seeing what you are actually working.
It has had tremendous value. They are now feeling so confident that they won't lose out on RFPs. They would look into such RFPs which are having higher winning rate for them. That's the second thing they are really confident on. Plus, we have been able to, because we are a boutique yet, we are still in the making process in making the product in making. So another thing which I would like to highlight is, she is of very strong opinion that we should not get trapped in one more feature trap. Typically,
For
when
the
you are building a
product.
product, we typically as a product owner, you will
Feature
feel like
rich,
ये भी
we want to
बनाएंगे, वो
make
भी
it,
बनाएंगे, ये
yeah,
भी
yeah.
करेंगे, वो भी करेंगे, हमको जो सब सही लगता है वो सब कुछ करेंगे. That is what we
It's
feel.
a wish list of features that
And
never
because
ends.
we were operating from my previous earlier experience of dealsandoffers.com, we said nothing doing. She also took a stand, nothing doing. Let us go to the customer first. Align with
The
the
customer has to
requirements.
give you those
Absolutely.
features. Otherwise, it is going to be a monster of an application with so many features, and we don't know whether all the features will be utilized by the customer or not.
It is like feel good factor for
Yeah,
us,
yeah.
But
but
then
not for
customer
The
the
is-
wish
customers.
list never ends
Never ends.
because
It never ends.
so many applications are floating around, and we are always attracted to new features.
Right. So that has helped. The customer
it
is
is important
happy.
now because generally we are reading so many things. AI is generative AI. There are so many ready libraries are into the
Right.
picture. So building solution is not a challenge right now, right? Any solution, but what solution you should build and which use case you should cater. That is more important
To
right now.
also be customer centric. So
Absolutely.
you are solving a problem that the customers face.
And what we are trying to convey to the customers is that we are not a POC company. Can we, our bold statement on the website is, can we go beyond POCs? And with that, we also approached, enterprise customers where we presented our case and they really liked. And then we have this program called as Paratroopers program, where this young talent, because she was a professor for so many years, she had good access to a lot of engineering colleges and as well as MCA colleges. And because she has done her PhD in AI, so what has happened is she really understands what skill set or what kind of topic awareness a student should have. So we're able to identify some colleges, not only in Maharashtra, but across India, where there is specific course being taught. So we hire people from those particular colleges, we groom them, train them, we ignite them, we really groom them, and we make them productive in hardly 4 to 6 months' time. And those are the people who have been able to contribute in developing of our products. So that idea is what itself the customer of that scale like there are juniors and there are seniors like us. we have been able to groom these people and build the IP which is adding value to the end customers. So that customer said, well, why don't you be a 100 people team for us? That is where.
Let me ask you this. Can computer science graduates fresh out of college directly get into AI? What skills do they need as a foundation? Or what is the grooming period for getting into like an AI engineer?
I think Kirti would be the right person to answer that.
Yeah, so now these days, if there is a computer science also, there are few subjects are added into the syllabus, at least basic machine learning concept, deep learning concept. So when you go any college, these are the subjects in computer science field also, okay? So depends on the students. Few students are very curious and they expand themselves other than this stuff. But if you consider that only computer science student with no background of machine learning or deep learning, I think it will take almost 6 months of rigorous work to arrive at a good AI engineer, at least to start with his job in machine learning or deep learning.
Project-based work or just a learning?
3 months will be learning and 3 months will be a project-based thing. Then only we can learn in a good way and he or she can enter into the industry. So that is what I feel, because learning AI means you need to start really start from scratch, like statistical analysis, linear algebra, then machine learning, then you should know the NLP also if you want to get into generative AI, and then now there is a Gen AI. And again, there are different lines into this AI. Like, so we can groom that particular candidate that whether he want to enter into this only machine learning field or he want to enter into the generative AI space. So in that way also we can direct the people and then they can go into the respective fields.
So Kirti, you have been in data side, on the data side for so long. You have expertise in data engineering and all. So you must have connected so many different line of data in complex domains. So do you want to walk us through any project that
so I will walk into the project
you got good insights and that's
so generally if you go on LinkedIn, so I have that line that I'm very passionate to bridge the gap between domain and data. So what is happening, for example, oil and gas, we'll take example of that. So those people are very rich in their domain because they know in and out of their domain, and we are rich in data science, for example, that we know data science, but who will help them? Because they need one person who will understand their terminology, their domain, and knows this data science field as well. Then only we can combine the power of two fields and we can come up with solutions. Before I have started my own company, I was working with one other company. Now it is acquired by Siklam company. So there I have worked with data where there was a data from kids like of the age of 3 to, for example, 7. It was related to their, like they were playing games in terms of educational games. We can say that there were like numbers 1, 2, 3, 4. And there were questions, and at the end of questions, they have to tick it like right, wrong, whatever. And we were getting analysis of their data that 3 to 4 years, what is their problem? Are they finding any particular letter difficult? Are they finding any particular sum difficult in the math? So that eventually then we will give these insights to the game team so that you can just, this question is more complex because maybe 90% students are not able to solve this problem and all that. But eventually in that insights, what outcome we observed that the number 4 is very difficult for any kid. For example, maybe 3 to 4, 5 years, they are finding it very difficult to identify that number 4. So we thought why it is like 1, 2, 3, 9, 8, they are identifying very well, but why number 4? Like what is complex in that number 4? Then we were reading one research paper into that, because in number 4 there are diagonal line, there is horizontal line, there is vertical line. And when we are in the nature is surrounded by most of the horizontal and diagonal is coming later, for example. So our eyesight is more comfortable with horizontal and vertical kind of thing and not diagonal. And for kid to manage everything like diagonal, horizontal and vertical, it becomes difficult for them. And that was then we thought that the research paper is talking only about this, that why for us as a human becomes initially difficult to manage all the angles. And that's why the kids were facing that problem. And later what game team done that, they have just converted that into vertical, then horizontal and then vertical. So that kind of thing.
Never thought about it.
Literally, it was really very good for us. And even
with that small change of instead of diagonal, and instead of making the line vertical, I think after that, the performance of identifying the number 4 from the same set of kids and even the future kids, they were able to figure out that this is 4. So the simple change from a
That
diagonal
gave
to a
us really
vertical.
very good satisfaction that is the power, like we could identify that why they are not able to find out through
Purely
when right.
because of data and the results, and kids were struggling, and why they were struggling, and some making changes in the UX as well as making changes and applying all the science.
You
So
definitely
that has
have a
helped.
point there.
Yeah.
Right.
Simple thing.
I want to talk about the Swapnapurti Foundation, which you have founded. And so when you are using technology-driven approach for solving issues, social issues, what was your experience and how do you do that? I mean,
Okay,
address
so the
tech.
purpose of starting Swapnapurti was, I'm from very small village, right? So I know the challenges for girls, like education. If they want to take higher education, or for example, girls want to opt for MPSC or UPSC kind of services, administrative services, we can say that there is some resistance from parent sides only, right? So that is where, because sometimes there are very aspiring girls, but they don't get out of the village because of all these restrictions and all that. That is where we thought that we should start Swapnapurti Social Foundation, so that we will help such kind of girls to get out of the village. We will sponsor them for their classes, for their food, for their living thing, so that in 6 months they can acquire good knowledge, they can go back, they can study, they can do their work. This is what the purpose was.
Yes.
Right now, in terms of technology, it is like we are going to the institutes, we are getting candidates and we are helping them. We haven't added a technology angle into the Swapnapurti Social Foundation
yet.
right now.
Not yet.
Yeah, not yet.
Not yet.
Yes.
Why is that?
I think we haven't reached to that stage yet.
That's right.
So
In
the
Swapnapurti
purpose
just
is
recently we have
because
started.
because as she
2-3 years
mentioned,
back.
she comes from a very remote, very small, I think hardly 300-400 families stay in that village. And in her early days, when she was in the school, there was no school in the village, and she had to go out and stay somewhere else and so on. And then she struggled with monetary issues, and she struggled with during her engineering days, and then she somehow overcome all of that, and then she came to a decent place, and then she improved, and then reached to a university for that matter, and then finished about to finish a PhD, then get into this entrepreneurship mode and
Quite
so
a
on.
journey.
So that kind of a journey. Then we realized was this seems to be a good inspiration for a lot of kids from that
And
place.
just to get into basic education and
Right.
helping them manage their aspirations and not just get bogged
Right.
down by
Yeah.
that.
And even initially, see, sometimes what happens, there is a Rayat Prabodhini in ABC, right? There they are giving these classes, and most of the students are opting for free classes. So we went there, we asked them, do you have like girl students, those who are aspiring, but they are not coming to your institution? They filled up your form, but they are not turning up and all that. So we took all that information from them. But there was some, we cannot say resistance from their side, but there was something like they were not coming to us to give us that list and all that. But we thought we have started Swapnapurti Foundation, so we should do something at least through the foundation if you are not getting girls right now, for example. So we have done something for the flood area. We have done something for the individual student I have identified, like this is the student I should help him through Swapnapurti. So that kind of stuff we are doing right now.
So we haven't
But
reached to
yeah,
a maturity level.
Maturity
yet.
level. But really, if you ask me, I'm really more than willing to help girl students, those who aspire to go into the MPSC and UPSC, and those who are listening to this podcast. I will ask them, if you are such kind of girls, so you should come to Swapnapurti Social Foundation, Parag or me, and you can reach out to us. We are more than willing to help them.
That's wonderful.
Yeah.
Yes. And the sheer impact that you are creating, that is really so heartwarming to hear. Yeah. And all the best to your foundation.
Yeah.
Thank you very
Thank you
much.
very much. Yeah.
I want to delve into another topic related to AI regulations. So you are working with healthcare, oil and gas. So all that data that you are handling, what kind of, how do you address the AI regulation, privacy, and the compliance regulations related to data for different customers, for different domains?
Okay. So this is also
So
one.
how do you handle, how does Gen AI handle that responsible
This is a very
AI?
good question, and this is important questions, I think, because every time when we go to the customer, first question is always there: what you are going to do with this data? Is this data you are showing to another customer? Because there are competitors, right? So that is first question they ask to us. Now, when we say data privacy in healthcare, these people manage like HIPAA compliance and all that if it is coming from the US customer. But for us, for example, if we are working with Tender Genie right now, and they have their own tenders, and we are asking them, give us your past responses and all
data.
that, right?
Classified data.
So that is very important for them. That is their asset, right? And if they are giving us that asset, they will make sure that we will keep it very privately. It should not go outside. So of course, we have our own cloud servers and all that. So we are keeping their data in that privacy network only. It is not going out of the network. Now,
And more importantly,
yes,
and sorry to interrupt, and more importantly, to address your particular question, so even if the product or the solutions which we are building, they are in the SaaS mode, there is logical, completely, I would say, isolation of the information. Even if we are into building an SLM, or let's say if you are building LLM for that matter, to address or create a knowledge store specific to a particular customer who is subscribing to our platform. So that is a logically separate LLM, or logically separate vector database, they call it, or logically separate set of API calls. And so all that has been very well orchestrated. So in our solution, we have always, I mean, obviously HTTPS, these are all basic stuff.
Yeah, that
but
is
then
basic
can we
security.
redirect the, based on the subscriber, can we redirect this to a particular instance of, based on the customer who is querying and so on. And even within that, there are, access rights, and there are permissions, and there are privileges based on the current context of the user and so on. So that is how, that is well orchestrated and well managed. That is how we have been able to achieve all those and address those data privacy issues.
Yeah, and again, ultimately, there is a trust always between, you have to build that trust between customer and your side. So generally, we say like, AI ethics should become a part of your culture.
Yeah.
And you should be able to say that AI ethics is our culture. So then only it will work. That is what we feel.
So you have an end-to-end service model at Parallel Minds for digital transformation.
Yeah.
So what sets it apart, in your opinion, from other consultancies?
Well, fantastic question.
How do you maintain the edge, because this market is so competitive?
Correct. Because you used digital transformation, that has been the prevalent and it has been the established term for so many years. What we are bringing a difference or changing the mindset is AI-driven digital transformation. That's the first change we have brought in the way we are discussing with the customers. What we have observed is many customers, everybody seems to have a AI budget.
Right.
And there are all big players who might handle big customers. But there is a specific need which we have identified in the market. There are manufacturing companies, there are equipment manufacturers, there are typical manufacturers. These mid-sized customers who are, let's say, $100 million to $150 million to $200 million to, let's say, $300 million, that's the customers. What is happening in last 5, 10, 15 years is they themselves are getting acquired, or they are also in the mode of acquiring customers, acquiring similar businesses. Now, by virtue of acquisition, what's happening is, naturally, there are different line of business applications at each of these acquired companies or plants, and they have different CRMs, they might have different ERPs, they might have their homegrown systems, they might have different attendance management system, they might have their different formats of documents and so on. So what we feel is the buying company, I would say the holding company, is always in the pursuit of developing solution which will give them a unified view of what's happening in their overall business. And that is where bigger companies may not come, service providers may not come to these mid-segment market customers. That is where we would come in, because we understand AI, we understand typical Gen AI use cases, we understand custom software development, we have been doing workflow automation, we have been doing digital transformation. Typically, we don't call digital transformation as transformation. What we do is we work very closely with the customers. We conduct discovery sessions, we conduct user experience sessions, we do conduct gap analysis, and then we make them realize that there seems to be a process chaos, there seems to be a data chaos, there seems to be a complete data exchange chaos. So how about then identifying a scenario where then we take that as a case and then we present to them, this is how we could be doing it better, or this is how we could be integrating various systems, this is how we could be applying technology. So we play more of a consulting role to begin with, rather than go and say.
Right.
So we do purpose-driven and use case specific application journeys with the customer, and that is where they open up. We make them realize that this seems to be a problem, and so we have to go beyond their day-to-day operations and really have those candid conversations and then make them realize that there is a problem in their system. That is one way of, and then that is where we build smaller digital transformation enablers, we call it. So we build smaller solutions, use case specific, we solve that particular problem, but we have to keep in mind the larger landscape. Like if I solve problem A, problem B, problem C, all the smaller, but the data has to be well managed at a larger scale. That is one area. And second is because this acquisition creates a challenge and process challenge, we then came up with this, our positioning statement, as we discussed about applying data engineering properly. And then because we are from Microsoft Fabric, we are from Microsoft tech stack background, the natural choice for us was using Microsoft Fabric as a platform, which is a SaaS platform for data engineering. And that offers you data ingestion services. And what I mean by data ingestion is, imagine the same scenario again, multiple manufacturing companies being bought over. So I can source data from company A from one CRM, and I can source CRM data from another company, but there could be another CRM, and there could be another ERP, and there could be another application, and so on. So I can collect information from all these systems, ingest that into this platform, apply engineering, apply science, apply AI, build some process models, build some AI models, and then come up with nice visualization. And that is where we use Microsoft Power BI as one of the key strengths I think we have been operating with. We have built so many amazing interactive dashboards, but then visualization is one part, but can we bring out actionable insights?
Correct.
That's another very important thing. And then can we bring some conversational flavor to the way people can interact with the data? That is another third thing we were able to do. And then we also explored, is it just Power BI, or can we also build solutions in parallel where we can kind of give them ChatGPT kind of interfaces where the end users could be business users, and they can just simply chat with the data, and can they get some relevant, very insightful information. And
so
then can we
typically you start with data, right? The data first?
Yeah, we start with conversations. If you look at my LinkedIn backdrop, it says it all begins with conversation.
I've seen
so that is how it is. You have to converse, and that is then we convert them into discovery sessions, we convert them into UX sessions, we convert them into ideation sessions, we convert them into then process sessions, identify process chaos, data chaos, and then present them that this could be the potential problems which probably needs to be solved, that will really result into some better digital enablement. And then once they are in the mood of enablement, that is where transformation is caused. So that kind of a journey, and that is where probably we have taken a lot of time to arrive at this stage of our business. I mean, we have spent
tremendous time. It has been quite a journey, yes, I can say that.
We have spent a lot of time with all our existing clients. One good thing which happened in the second orbit program is go back to your customers. Focus on them first rather than acquiring new customers. So we went back to our existing clients. We did all this nice process back to them. And as a part of that, our businesses are doubling with our existing clients. So that's our one learning from that other second orbit program, through which we have been able to connect to Y and the rest of team members also.
It's really wonderful.
It has been a good journey. That is what we do. So that is, hopefully I am able to answer you what sets us apart.
Definitely.
So we go way beyond.
I can say that.
Yes, we go way beyond.
So Parag and Kirti, we are already at the dawn of 2025. So looking ahead 2025 and going forward, how do you see the roadmap for Parallel Minds and Datasmith AI?
Yeah. So year 2024, we have invested a lot in defining strategies, in positioning our company. And now if you'll check our LinkedIn, so we have 37 open positions, right? So that is, we have found out that position very strategically, that which kind of people we will need to grow our businesses, right? So there are senior leadership we are looking for. That is where even when we attended second orbit session, the suggestion of Anand sir was always that whenever you want to grow, you want to scale, you cannot grow by yourself. So there will be a team of A players, ownership. So that kind of people we are looking for to get us into our journey, so that they can grow and we can also grow with them. That is one thing. And even the second stream of hiring we want to do is like the junior level people, that where we will consider them, we will groom them, we will nurture them, and we want to
enroll them in the possibilities of future. Is what, because we are so focused. There is something called as paratroopers program. The paratroopers program, as I mentioned, we do a very specific hiring of specific skill set, of specific mathematical, statistical background, awareness on machine learning, awareness of in general AI as a landscape, and then we hire them with a Python skill set and so on, and then we put them on in a hands-on mode for almost 2 months, 4 months and 6 months. And the program is such that so once the engineer goes through that program, they are 100% ready for production. That is one. Second is the Paratroopers program's agenda is also to offer best value to the customers. So what we go to the customers and tell is, like, these are our people who are at 6 months of experience, but they are ready for production. And we also offer them something called as a fixed price for first year, fixed price for second year, fixed price for third year. So what happens is the customer is able to visualize his expense for coming 3 years if he were to, or she were to, or if they were to hire a paratrooper from our side on their project in an augmented staffing mode. That is one. Second is we also know how much money we are going to make in future. And we kind of tailor our program in such a way based on the customer's requirements. Although we are not a staffing company, neither we are a training company, but we want to be part of the engineering team with the customer, but at the same time offer value, not only in terms of the money, but also in terms of the quality of resource which we are providing to the customer. So that's what the Paratroopers program is all about. As far as in general Parallel Minds strategy, you asked what 2025 looks like. Honestly, it's not just about, for us, we have arrived at a point where it's not just about 2025 anymore. We have transformed ourselves from Parag's company, I company, to then Kirti's and Parag's company. And then instead of we, then we converted that into actually a we company where all the people are enrolled in the possibility of future. And we have a nice plan which has been arrived from between 2025 to 2029. And there is a specific plan and an event which is supposed to happen in 2030. So we are now coming up with a statement called as 4+1 strategy. So what happens in coming 4 years and what happens in the 5th year? That is what we are looking at. So that's our horizon looking like. We are looking forward. When I am talking in 2030, we are going to achieve a specific target. We are going to be established as a very, I would say, Microsoft Fabric driven data engineering expertise company. At the same time, we will be growing Datasmith AI into GenAI space, not only in the application space, but in the entire ecosystem of GenAI, which might include services like LLM development, SLM development, fine-tuning of models, complete AI ops, complete ML ops, or rather complete GenAI ops. That is something which we want to establish, and we want to cater into very specific areas, be it oil and gas, or be it real estate, or be it health tech, and be it manufacturing. Only 4 majorly. That is what we intend to do as far as GenAI is concerned. And our custom software development, which we now rebranded to be called as product engineering services, that is something which we are going to expand by replicating the way we work with existing clients, and primarily work with our existing clients to really add more value to their businesses. So that's what our future, current and the latter future looks like.
Future looks exciting. Wonderful.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for being here, Parag and Kirti, and it has been such an insightful conversation. We would definitely want to have a sequel to this conversation where we talk about more in detail about more areas that GenAI is going to touch.
Correct.
And it has been a pleasure hosting you.
It has been our pleasure as
Yeah,
well.
really.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, viewers, for watching this podcast. It has been such an enjoyable and insightful conversation with Parag and Kirti Bihade, and they are from Parallel Minds and Datasmith AI. And stay tuned for our next podcast. Thank you.